let me tell you something, okay? I don't think that guy is in the DSA. I don't think there's a Hasanabi head. I think that dude is, I would say that's the average Republican voter, as a matter of fact. Let's watch the backlash that the Republicans are receiving at their town halls.
Begin this hour with Americans speaking up very loudly and very clearly at town hall events across the nation. Republicans in Congress are taking the brunt of it over President Trump and Elon Musk, deep cuts to federal jobs and programs, and the uncertainty over the economy. A lot of people worried. A lot of GOP lawmakers have now canceled events amid all kinds of very tough questions from their constituents. Nicole Killian reports on.
Actually, I want to get right to, I want to cut to the meat of it, okay? The meat. No bones, just meat. Because there is definitely something here that I want you to see. We got a veteran who is at a town hall, angry over Doge. Let's watch that. And then I'm going to show you another voice memo that Tom Tillis received.
I'm a veteran. You don't give a about me. You're taking
I was at this town hall. It was full of conservatives. Yeah, I think that older conservatives are going to get angrier and angrier. That's going to also piss off a lot of Americans as well, conservatives as well. This is what I mean when I say, like, Americans are relatively servile people, but that's because they're relatively comfortable people, okay? And the government making decisions like this in the short term might not be seen by many Americans, but I think, or might not get broad reception from CNN or maybe other outlets or whatever. But I do think that this is going to piss off people. Like, the example I will give you is like Colombia, right? Mahmoud Khalil, Arab name, scary guy. They're saying he's a terrorist. A lot of Americans can turn the other cheek at that. They'll go, oh, it's probably good. He's probably scary. I'm conditioned to feel like this is a bad guy. But this is not going to stop there. Inevitably, the government is going to nab someone who will have a higher media profile. The stress will increase. We will, of course, continue applying pressure. But having said that, inevitably that pressure will cause the dam to break. Because when there's more pressure, there's going to be more countermeasures, more prosecutions, more arrests, scarier enforcement tactics, and eventually you're going to arrest someone that is even more of a perfect victim in the eyes of Americans. Not saying that Mahmoud wasn't. Not saying that you even have to be a perfect victim. I hope people understand. And when that happens, or as things continue to worsen, people will absolutely put more teeth in their resistance. Especially if material conditions continue to worsen for the average American. Like, I'll give you some. I'll give you an example. Republicans are currently discussing inside of their party to no longer have in-person town halls. This was reported by the New York Times. Republican House members told to stop holding in-person town halls. Okay. Let's say you don't do that. People still want to respond to you, though. Okay? Your constituents are going to want to respond to you. So if you don't hold in-person town halls, they'll respond to you in public. In-person town halls are certainly a more managed way to address the public. Because if you don't do town halls, people are inevitably going to find out where you are because you're going to do a book tour, or you're going to go to an event where you're fundraising. They're going to be outside of that event. You don't want that. So Hassan, stop right there, Holy. I'm not saying that this is what I want people to do, dumbasses. I'm saying that there needs to be a pressure valve. That is what the town halls are supposed to do. The pressure valve is the town halls. If you don't do it at a town hall, people are going to address their concerns to you directly wherever you go. This is just a descriptive statement. It's not a prescriptive one. I'm not saying this is what people should do. I'm just telling you that this is most likely what is going to happen. Okay? This is what has happened throughout American history and throughout history in general. Yeah, remember what people did with Kyrsten Sinema as the Democratic Party actively tried to protect her after she played the role of a spoiler. This is the appropriate way to vent and to at least maintain the optics of a democratic process, as though you care about what your constituents have to say, right? If they shut off the appropriate venues, people will find inappropriate venues. That's all I'm stating. Now, we watched this video.
Just to be clear, you're not
Let him speak. Let him speak.
For example, folks at the National Weather Service.
Now that I gave you the potatoes, let me show you the meat, okay? Here is Senator Tom Tillis, who released an audio of death threats directed at him, his staff, and his family. I disavow this. I disavow. I'm going to say this over and over again. But when you listen to who is making these threats, you will probably quickly recognize that this is not like a Hasanabi head by any measure. Let's take a look.
Good afternoon, Senator Tillis.
That's how northern warbeck think about you southern white trash. That's what the ones who won the Civil War think about you. Do you understand that inferior bad genes, inbred stupid you and all your people?
Yeah, Tom Tillis, afraid of threats. Then get the out of office.
I would like to talk to Tom Tillis and ask him why he thinks it's okay for him to take money from this nation and it over. Why does he think that he can tell his employers to go themselves every goddamn day, all day long, and sell his goddamn nation out and his employers over? Don't he know that his employers can take a axe handle and
God damn! Let me tell you something, okay? I don't think that guy is in the DSA. I don't think that's a Hasanabi head. I think that dude is probably a voter. That's the average, I would say that's the average Republican voter, as a matter of fact.
And I suggest, well, you're going to have to be very careful about going out in public or talking to anybody that's real, that's an actual American, because we hate you.
That is North Carolina's very own Republican Tom Tillis. Those are his constituents. People are mad, dude. I disavow. Of course, I disavow. Make no mistake, I disavow. Yeah, these are dudes who are using a landline to make a death threat to a congressperson. I saw a funny reaction to this, which was like someone reacting to Edinger Mentum's post, which was like, yeah, Zoomers, hee. I think it'd be funny if something a little bad happened to this politician. In Minecraft, though, haha, boomers using their full names and address, I am going to kill you. Like, boomers do not around, dude. Now, I'm not saying they're going to actually follow through on these promises, but I'm just simply stating that, like, if you got boomers saying like this, yeah, you got to change the trajectory. You know, you got to change course. Dark woke sweeping the nation. I don't think these guys are woke, man. I think they're aware of where the funding cuts are happening and what kind of repercussions that might have on them. So in an opportunity moment like this, in quite the opportune moment like this, how are the Democrats not actively trying to drive a wedge between the constituencies and the party, when the party's actions are deliberately implementing austerity measures that are harmful to their base of support, to the Republican Party's base of support? How in the ever-loving are you not screaming from the rooftops every single day about how this is going to cause a boomer side. You've voluntarily gave up that position by voting for the cloture. You're volunteering to say, we can't even use this as a political messaging tool against the party that is going to set these deep cuts. I don't believe that every single card-carrying Democratic politician is this oblivious or this awful. And I don't know where we go from here, but I do see anger and resentment.
One gathering in North Carolina that did go ahead, and it got, how shall we say, very heated.
Yeah, Ro Khanna, when the Senate minority leader sells you out, the only option is to take back the party and country with grassroots activists in blue and red districts to stand up for the Constitution and our democracy. It's interesting to see Ro Khanna say this while he's, in between tweeting about how Elon Musk is a great American entrepreneur who should be defended at all costs. That's the Ro Khanna cycle, baby. For every 3 things that he does that you're like, what are you doing with the limited amount of time and space that you have to speak about issues? How did you choose to do this? And then the next day he'll be like, the American revolutionary sentiment is ripe. Rise up, proletarians. He's like, America is ripe for revolution. We must seize the means of production away from the parasitic capital owners and deliver it back to the working class now. Also, I love Elon Musk. Yeah, Dick Durbin also, who is the whip for Chucky Schumer, also voted for the cloture. Just so you know, just so you understand, it's a ridiculous state of affairs when you got the minority leader and his second in command both voting for the cloture.
At Thursday's town hall in Asheville, the lines began early, snaking outside the building with some who oppose President Trump.
America has never been like this. We've had disputes, we've had disagreements, we've had protests, but I've never seen it this angry before.
And others who support him.
The government has to cut because it is in trouble. And Elon Musk is not voted in, I get it, but neither was Anthony Fauci.
As the event got underway, frustrations towards the administration bubbled over. Attendees sounded off.
Why is a non-elected person running our government?
And shouted down GOP Congressman Chuck Edwards, who represents Asheville, a blue city in an otherwise red district.
You're lying! I'm a veteran! You don't give a about me!
At least one man was hauled out by police.
You don't get to take away our rights! You don't get to take our health care! Get off of it! You don't get to do it! Come on, you guys!
Could you clarify if the anti-Semitic terrorism policies are a component of the spending bill? No, the anti-Semitic terrorism policies, the new policies that the DOJ said it intends to use are completely, it's just a totally separate thing. It's completely removed from the spending bill. There's not a part of that at all. Pete the Artist, thank you for the 20 gifted subs.
It follows a series of similar town halls nationwide, where members of Congress have faced off with angry constituents. Edwards received a steady stream of questions about Elon Musk, tariffs, the Ukraine-Russia war, and massive cuts to the federal government, from the VA to the Department of Education. Many in the room are still recovering from Hurricane Helene.
We don't need to hear you tell us what we lived through.
Crowds surrounded Edwards as he left.
Bro, you can't but trans people your way out of this, by the way. That's the other side of it. Like, when you impact people materially in a tangible way that they can immediately recognize, if you impact people and their lives in a meaningful way, okay, and they can feel that impact, you can't just cast a dispersion cloud or whatever. You can't just throw a smoke grenade and just escape by saying, but what about trans people? DEI. You can't do that. They're going to be like, I don't give a okay? I don't care who's processing my paperwork as long as I still got health care. As long as I still got Social Security. That's it. These guys think that they could just deploy the trans grenade over and over again to be like, but we're doing these cuts because they're going to trans people. When you got like a 78-year-old veteran being like, I ain't trans. You're stealing my money, damn it. I'm the least trans person on the planet. How dare you? Their fragile lives are legitimately threatened. I mean, I don't think they will. I don't think they'll awaken to the contradictions and instantly develop class consciousness, especially because like a lot of the boomers themselves have some kind of nest egg, so they do have a capacity for capital accumulation, right? So they are not aligned with younger workers that are just entering the marketplace at all. They have homes and shit, right? Their material conditions are very different. The average age of the home buyer a new home buyer in this country is 50 years old, okay? 50. A lot of people who have homes are very old. That's important. That means they have assets. That means they have capital. They have a means of capital accumulation. So for their material conditions to worsen, you have to really, really, you have to really do some messed up shit. Even then, I don't believe that they will rise up with revolutionary fervor. Don't misunderstand me, but like this anger can be channeled into more appropriate vectors because this anger is justifiable. This anger is understandable. Why wouldn't you be angry? Those people are more honest and more aware of who's hurting them than the damn near entirety of the Democratic Party's leadership that refuses to basically say, this is austerity, this is happening, Trump is doing this to you. They're recognizing it on their own. They're recognizing it on their own without the Democratic Party steering them in this direction. What exactly are they angry about? They're angry about layoffs. They're angry about the federal government layoffs. Some of them are federal government agency workers, or some of them are related to federal government workers. Some of them are angry at the fact that Social Security and Medicaid spending is slated to be cut. That's understandable that they would be upset at that. Some of them are veterans and VAs getting cut. Veterans are getting fired. I saw a stat that it was like this administration has fired more veterans than any administration prior, like something insane like that.
But the GOP lawmaker has vowed to keep holding in-person town hall.
Folks certainly have the right to protest and share their concerns. That's part of the process with democracy.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Nicole Killian in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yep.
To President Trump and Elon Musk's drive to slash the federal workforce. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, has the latest on that story in the anger over the cuts. Good morning, Rachel.
Michael, good morning to you. And these sweeping cuts by the Trump administration and mass firings not only prompting legal pushback in the courts, but also from voters across the country, too, who are now confronting their Republican representatives at town halls.
Is this good? Is this good? I can't tell. Are we winning yet, guys? Are we winning so much that we will say, Mr. President, please let us not win any longer. We have won far too much. We are winning more than we have ever won. It feels like it don't feel too good. I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're winning a lot.
Overnight, a heated town hall in Asheville, North Carolina.
I feel like this is not productive with everybody yelling at me. I mean, if you want to hear... Yeah.
Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards confronted by constituents about the sweeping cuts across the government by President Trump and Elon Musk.
How do you justify cuts?
It's not as bad as you're making it. Were these 2 months hard? Sure, but only 46 more to go. Amazing. I can't wait. The past 2 months were awful. Every day there was a new controversy. Every day there was a new chaotic circumstance that caused the market to plunge. And fantastic that we have, think about it. Think about the stuff that's happened in the past 2 months, okay? And we have 46 more to go. Amazing. That's definitely going to be great. I can't wait, especially because in around 12 months, you're going to start seeing the impact. This is happening in the interim. This is like the immediate impact. That is the lightest version, okay? This is the lowest amount of impact that you will ever experience. Every single day, it will get worse. it will snowball, which is why I think people are going to get much more angrier.
Cuts to staff of the VA helping veterans, especially those with long-term care needs.
So first of all, there have been no cuts to the staff as in this.
Edwards repeatedly booed.
Yeah, wait, also, we're not even factoring in, like, you know, commonplace issues that are that didn't used to be so common, like anthropogenic climate change related unimaginable climate disaster, like catastrophic events that used to happen like once every decade or once every 100 years are now happening multiple times a year. Pair that up with underfunding FEMA, gutting FEMA, underfunding the National Weather Service and NOAA, measles outbreaks and things of that nature. Are you kidding me, dude? It is going to be insanity. We're going to be out with our dicks out in the wind, pissing directly against the wind.
As he took questions for 90 minutes.
Like him or not, Elon Musk has brought a lot of really smart people to Doge.
One interaction turning so contentious, this man had to be escorted out.
You don't get to do this, boy!
The Trump administration is pushing forward with those cuts. Thousands of workers have already been fired across the federal workforce. In the middle of tax season, sources say the IRS is now expected to cut 18,000 jobs by May 15th. And the U.S. Postal Service announcing it will trim its workforce by 10,000 with voluntary buyouts after striking an agreement with the Department of Government Efficiency. Musk this week splitting with the White House, suggesting entitlement programs like Medicare and Social Security could be next.
The wage support in entitlement spending, which is most of the federal spending is entitlements. So that's like the big one to eliminate.
Those words leaving some voters concerned.
What are you doing to ensure the protection of our Social Security benefits?
Yeah, good question. I'm not going to vote to dissolve your Social Security. I'm not looking to disrupt Social Security at all.
And overnight, a federal judge ordering 18 agencies to hire back 20,000 federal workers the administration fired. The judge saying the mass firings didn't follow certain rules or give advance notice, causing the impacted states irreparable harm by having to assist thousands of unemployed workers. And when it comes to the administration's argument that federal employees were fired for poor performance, the judge writes, this isn't true. There were no individualized assessments of employees. They were all just fired collectively.
So hours earlier, a different federal judge issued a very similar ruling. The White House responding to that, calling it absurd, saying they will be fighting back, George.
Rich, it looks like no government shutdown?
Yeah, it's always down to the wire, George, but it does look like Congress will avert this. Senate Democrats reversing course. They were trying to block a Republican proposal in protest of President Trump, Elon Musk, and those sweeping cuts. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will now vote to keep the government open, insisting that while these policies are bad, a government shutdown is worse, he says. George.
Okay, Rich.
I can't tell. It seems like they're celebrating him, right? Is that what is going on? Yeah, they're saying, Bowerns, you're gonna be winning so much that you're gonna say, Mr. President, please, sir, we're winning too much. We're winning too much, Mr. President. That's what they're gonna say. You're gonna say, never again, Mr. President. It's because they're booing because they're tired of the victories. I think that's what it is. They're tired of too much winning. That's why they're booing him. That's what Trump meant when he said, we're going to win so much. You're going to say, please, we're winning too much, sir. This is the we're winning too much, sir moment. That's what it is. That's why they're booing him. They're like, please, sir. We're tired. We're tired of constantly pumping our fists in celebration of all the wonderful things that you've done so far. Please make the winning stop. And it's funny because, like, while all of this anger and animosity is being directed at some of the, like, public-facing figures of this administration, Republicans can't contend with that hatred and resentment that they're experiencing. So they keep talking about how, the left is getting radical. The left is getting violent. The left is lighting Teslas on fire. When will it stop? When will it stop? That's what they keep saying. Great. I'm glad that Trump is, instead of addressing the anger and resentment that he's receiving, the backlash that he's receiving in the form of feedback from a very angry public, he has chosen the other path, which is to try and prosecute it. The Israel method. That's cool. The Israel method, which is the Israel method in America, which is, is there too much backlash? Well, get the federal government to engage in censorious actions. That'll surely put an end to it.